Hey, it's Casey Orr and Sean Whitfield with iTruckTV.com. It's time for your NASCAR update, and we're going to get you up to speed. Now this week, we're going to talk about Daytona International Speedway and another dominating performance by Jimmie Johnson. The only difference this week is, Sean, he actually got the victory.
That he did. His 64th victory out of his entire career of 417 NASCAR races, and it was a dominating performance, led probably at least about 70% of the race.
Yeah, 94 laps Jimmie Johnson led, which is something you don't typically do at a restrictor plate track because of the drafting. You move in and out all day, but he really had a car that was able to get up front and stay there. And Sean, this makes two races with the Gen 6 car at Daytona, two Jimmie Johnson victories at Daytona. He becomes the first guy since the 70s, when one of the Allison brothers did it, to win the Daytona 500 and the July race, which we now know as the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona.
A lot of the drivers, a lot of the teams were curious if they could expect race conditions to be a lot like they were at the Daytona 500 in February. We did, in fact, see a lot of similar type racing. We saw a lot of single file racing. There at the end, we saw a lot of cars going 3, sometimes 4 wide. And then, of course, we had our share of the big one, which is always something you can expect at a restrictor plate race.
Well, I will say that it seemed like the bottom line, more so this race than at the Daytona 500, seemed to be a little more competitive. You could put a couple cars together and at least go to the front and make some noise. Maybe they're starting to get this thing figured out, but true restrictor plate fans, I think, leaves a little something to be desired, but I think NASCAR will definitely go ahead and fix that. One thing we know about the restrictor plate races, Sean, we see names in the top 10 we're not used to, and we also see some bad runs by some quality teams because of those big wrecks.
That is true. Let's get right into the results of the Coke Zero 400 at Daytona International Speedway. And of course, Jimmie Johnson was our winner, his 4th victory and 12th top 10 finish in 2013. And second spot, we had Tony Stewart. 3rd was Kevin Harvick. 4th, Clint Boyer. 5th, Michael Waltrip. 6th, Kurt Busch. 7th, Jamie McMurray. 8th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9th, Casey Mears. And 10th, Ryan Newman.
Casey Mears' first top 10 in a long time.
I think
Sean,
that was a mistake.
And Michael Waltrip, team owner Michael Waltrip, getting a top 5, faring a lot better than Paul Menard, who finished the race last. Joey Logano 40th, Martin Truex Jr. 41st. Some of the guys caught up in some of the wrecks. You see that each and every time we have a restrictor plate race, and you saw some teams have bad runs, take a big hit in the points that at this point in the season didn't need that.
That's true. And of course, we can't leave out Danica Patrick.
Of course.
Finished in 14th spot. Another top 15 run for her at Daytona. She managed to get 8 at the first Daytona race in February.
Well, her boyfriend Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still finished 11th, so he's got bragging rights this week.
Of course, there were 6 cautions for 27 laps and 18 lead changes among 11 drivers.
What Jimmie Johnson's 4th win of the season does, it not only ties him with Matt Kenseth for most victories in the season, Sean, it opened up an already impressive points lead.
That's right, and getting into the driver's standings after the Coke Zero 400 of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, we see Jimmie Johnson secure his lead a little bit larger, and that, in fact, he came up 11 points ahead in the driver's standings than where he was last week.
49 points over second place Clint Boyer. He can take a week off and still win.
That's right. And of course, 3rd was Carl Edwards, 4th Kevin Harvick, 5th is Dale Earnhardt Jr., 6th Matt Kenseth, 7th is Kyle Busch, 8th is Greg Biffle, 9th Kurt Busch, and 10th Tony Stewart.
The last 2 names, Sean. Kurt Busch gets in the top 10 for the first time ever for Furniture Row Racing. That is big. I think he's brought a lot to that team. He's going to win a race this year. And Tony Stewart finishes 2nd. A lot of Tony's fans were upset he didn't win this race, didn't give more of an effort to try to win. I don't think he had anything for Jimmie, but this is why he didn't do anything stupid, Sean. He's now back to 10th in the points, whereas he was 15th the week before.
Now, this is the halfway point in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Next week, we'll be heading to New Hampshire for the Camping World RV 301 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
And of course, Sean, we'll keep everybody up to date as we are getting closer and closer to NASCAR's version of the playoffs, the chase for the Sprint Cup.
That's right. And if you're in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, you can catch us Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. on Valvoline Racing Radio on Rock 105, or you can also find us there on iHeartRadio. And we're going to keep you up to speed each and every week right here on iTruckTV.com.
Right here on the NASCAR update at iTruck TV, where Sean and I keep you up to speed.